And now, everyone, let's put your hands together and give a warm welcome to your host, Debbie Mills.
Thank you. Thank you, and welcome to each of you that are here with us on campus and to all those that are watching online. We are here for Real Talk and Success Strategies with Demo. So it is my pleasure to introduce you to an extraordinary engineer, producer, creative director, and 2013 Hall of Fame inductee, Demo.
Yeah. Give it up for Debbie, y'all. Woo. Thank you. Man, I am so honored and grateful for y'all to be here. As I told some of you earlier, the past 48 hours has been very enlightening for me. I've spent pretty much since how many of you saw my last talk, the real talk that I did here? Fantastic. If some of you haven't seen it, I encourage you when you leave here to go check it out, because I built this on that. That's more of the psychology and some of the strategies, but these are actually the strategies that if you implement, but in your lives. Which the truth is this, success is a great thing, but success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And that's the truth of the matter. And I believe that every single one of you has an amazing skill, an amazing ability to your ways is you. Let's be honest, a lot of you have a lot of great ideas, but you're in limbo. You're sitting there and going, I want to be a great singer, but damn, I really like making records. Or I want to be a great director, but man, I really like makeup, And you're balancing all these things. I'm here to tell you right now, before you leave here, I'm going to show you how to be able to go get what you want. All I ask is that you play full out. You take notes like your life is depending on it, because it is. The reality is this: you got to participate in your own rescue. Some of you are drowning, and you're the culprit of it. But guess what? I'm here to fix all that. I'm here to fix all that. And I love it that we have such a great small group, because I get to interact with y'all one by one. So what I want to start with is give me some of the things you guys want to accomplish. Everybody here came here for a reason. The online students, I'm sure, they have their reasons for why they signed up for the program. I'm grateful that they're here too. We're going to be interacting with them as well. But everybody here had something that got them to this place. What was that? Just shoot it out. Give me some of the things that led here. Just shoot it out to me. What is it? Your brother passing away. Okay, what else? You didn't get a job because you didn't have a degree.
I had more experience than everybody that had the degrees, but didn't have the degree.
You didn't have the degree. Got you. What else?
Working something that I didn't like to figure out that music is what I really have to do.
How many of you have done something you didn't like? Yeah, all of us at some point did that. What else?
I didn't make it in baseball due to an injury.
You didn't make it in baseball due to injury. So something happened in life. Oh, so you had something you were doing that you really like, and life kind of needs you a little bit, and that was a wrap, huh? How many of you had that happen to you? You go in, all of a sudden life jerks you out. You're like, yeah, I got that. That happened to me too. I was an athlete as well. Injury changed the whole trajectory of my life. And God, I'm so grateful for that injury. Because, man, at the time, life was bad. I was like, God, it's over. I'm thinking I'm gonna go play college ball. Damn, I want to go play pro ball. And that's it. Just like that, it ended. And I was stuck. And sometimes when things happen in life, we become victims, right? Like, man, we failing. If y'all coming in, sit up here, folks. I was thinking like, man, like, why is this happening to me? I'm here to tell you that life is not happening to you. It's happening for you. This is the thing. Life is the things that happen to you in life. Listen, there could be catastrophes and there could be wins. It just depends on how you look at it. You see, a lot of you I've been speaking to the past couple days, and I've heard the same thing. Man, I just don't know. I'm scared. To be honest with you, I switched my talk last night because we were at another event at the hotel we were at, and there was a young man named Joshua who was working at the valet. And one of the instructors was kind enough to bring him in. How many of you know DJ Swivel? Another Hall of Fame inductee, yeah. So me and Swivel, they're talking, and this young man comes up. I mean, if there was anything about fate, that if you didn't believe in fate, this is something that really makes you know the universe is working for you. Because out of all the people in that room, he came to the two people that were not going to let him walk out of there without realizing that he was making an incredible mistake. And his mistake was simple. That boy was scared of his own success. He's a month out from graduation. Some of you are going to relate to this. A month out, 2 months out, still doesn't have any idea what to do. I looked at him, I said, wow. It got to the point he got teary-eyed at the idea of what he had to do. How many of you can relate to this? It's scary to think of what's going to happen outside of here. I get it. But I'm going to tell you something. When you get outside of here, there's something else that's going to scare you. And there's something else that's going to scare you. And when you're at my level, guess what? There's even bigger scares. See, right now, you got little, like what I call lizard, like alligator problems. I got Godzilla problems. You know what I'm saying? When I look, they're massive. But guess what? I ain't gonna let Godzilla come and destroy my city. I built some. I'm the architect of my life. And so are you. So today we're gonna expose all that. Fear, you gotta eliminate fear. Now it's impossible to eliminate it in general. But let's go back to Joshua for a second. I'm here looking at Joshua, and I'm like, Joshua, what is it exactly that's scaring you? Man, because, if I go and I get this job, and what if it doesn't work out? I said, well, that could happen. He said, yeah, but then I got to go back to my family, and I would fail. They invested this time in me to come here, and I'm going to let them down. I said, yeah, that could happen. He started tearing up, oh, man, you saying it's going to happen? I said, no, I said that could happen. But the reality is, it hasn't happened. You see, Joshua's had this giant picture of him failing and letting down his family, but it wasn't true. See, most of you are drawing up these massive pictures of failure, and it's scaring the hell out of you. I mean, I had a young lady who came to see me the other day, and the picture, I could tell by her face, because every time I tell her, well, tell me what it looks like, she'd go, oh. I mean, she's shook. She's drawing a picture so big in her mind that it's literally scaring her physically right in front of me. I'm like, that picture's massive. I said, oh my God, it's huge. I say, oh, just bring it down a little bit. I said, it's really bright, right? She said, it's massively bright. I said, dull it a little bit. Change the picture. Change the way you look at this thing. Take a step back. The reality, I've used this acronym before, fear is a fantasized event that appears real. Some of you that just came in, take out pen and paper and write down, take notes, please. But fear is a fantasized event that appears real. It's not real. It hasn't happened yet. Joshua is thinking and painting this picture, this fear that hasn't happened yet. He hasn't gone out there and given himself a shot. Some of you are taking yourselves out of the game before you even had a chance to play. Literally right now, you're like on the D-League team or you're on the bench. At any minute now, the star can come down, get an injury, and before you know it, you're in the game. That's all you need to do. You've invested all this time to get here. All of you. You've invested all this time online. Invested time, invested money. You're doing this. You're here. You're all here. You're at the end of this. The end of this part of it. And then the next part of the journey continues. But you're not giving yourself a shot. I understand. Listen, it's scary to fail, folks. And some of you are like, well, it's easy for you to say. You're a Hall of Famer. You've worked on all this stuff. You're rich. You got a great life. Man, it wasn't always like that. I've had catastrophic failures. I got one of my siblings, he'll tell you, I just had a failure last year. They called me $50,000. Man, man, let me tell you something. No matter how much money you got, $50,000 is a lot of money. All right? Don't get it twisted. No matter how much money you got, money is money. And $50,000 is a big number. And somebody like, man, you look, if I lost $50,000, I'd lose my mind. I said, man, you smiling? I said, yeah, because I know I'm never going to make a $50,000 mistake again. That's the last time I make that mistake. I mean, I learned the lesson. I'm not dead. I'll go make it back. If I don't make it back, oh well, I'll find something else to do. but you got to give yourself a shot. Today we're going to talk about how you're going to position yourself to win. Because you all going to win. Because that's the truth, man. You're already winning. How many people have set out to do what you wanted to do? Think about how many people from where you're from are sitting there right now in some sappy job, mad as hell, miserable, looking at you going, man, I wish I could have done what you're doing. I wish I could be studying at that school. How many people have you sent them to the website and gone like, that's your school? Yeah, that's where I go to school at. Yeah, that's dope. You should think about it. But nah. I once heard a man say, most people tiptoe safely through life just to make it comfortably to death, bruh. You just tiptoeing through life, hoping to make it safely to death. Man, who wants to live like that? I don't, and you shouldn't either. So today, what I want you to do right now, I know some of you got 1,000 things. You want to be a record producer, you want to own your own movie studio, you want to have an animation company, you want to, have your t-shirt line, your shoe line, songwriter, all that stuff. And that's cool. But guess what? Today, I want you to pick one. I want you to think about it. I want you all to take a deep breath because I can notice half of you ain't breathing. So everybody take a deep breath with me. One more time. And just relax for a second. Let's pretend that Demo and his unlimited bank account, let's pretend, when you graduate, I'm going to give you $50 million. And then I'm going to give you the luxury that my financial company, which is one of the best in the world, is going to help you invest your money so your families, kids will never have to worry about money. You'll never have to think about it again. So from this place where there's no anxiety, it's all gone. You don't got to think about nothing. Life is going to be great. Demo got you. From this place, I want you to ask yourself, what would I be doing for the rest of my life, or even right now, that would get me out of bed every day if money was not an option? Out of all those ideas that all of you have, I don't care if it's in your program. I don't care if it's what you think, no matter what it is, just think right now, the first thing that comes up. Somebody got something? What is it for you? What is it? Christian and movie production studio? Okay. Nick, what's yours? It'd be an artist. Darrell, what's yours?
What I'm doing now, working with artists, helping them build their businesses.
Great. What's yours? Mix engineer. That's cool. Mix engineer. What's yours?
What about projection mapping?
Projection mapping. Fantastic. What's yours? Give it to me. Mix engineer. What's yours? Mentoring. Who specifically? Female artists. Amazing. What's yours? Your kids. Listen, if you hear something you like, write it down. What's yours back there with the Kango? What's yours? Yeah. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I can't hear you. Musician. Okay, amazing. What's yours? Yes. Comic book writer. Amazing. Does everybody have one? Yes. Okay, online. Give it to me, Spencer.
Jose says he would be mixing movies.
Jose would be mixing movies. Anybody else online?
Yeah, we got Frederick online.
Frederick. What's up, Frederick? What you got?
He hasn't given me anything. We have Teresa and Jose as well.
Okay.
So there's people watching.
Amazing. Well, hello, Teresa. Hello, Jose. Thank you for coming and joining us. So I'm glad everybody has some. All of you that come in, how are you? You're late. You're late. It's all good. I'm glad you're here, though. So what I was telling, I don't know what y'all caught, but I want everybody to think of something they would do if money wasn't an option. Think about that. Get it. Write it down. Now, when you have something, it's okay to have all these other ideas. It's okay to have a plan B and C. I'm from the school that I believe you got to put all your eggs in one basket. Because I believe, Sun Tzu said it in The Art of War. I said, if you want to beat an enemy, you always give them an option of escape. Whenever you back any enemy to the corner, he will always prevail. Because man will fight to his death to survive. That's what you need to do. You need to back yourself up in a corner. You need to burn all the ships. I think it happened with Cortez, where Cortez went to, now mind you, I might be getting the story wrong, but one of the conquistadors went and he was going to conquer some foreign land that had never been conquered before. Had a great army. Could have been the Trojans, could have been the Spartans, but it was one of those guys. And he sent this army over there. And when he got over there, he purposely took and he burned all the ships. He said, if y'all want to go home, there's only one way, and it's that way. You got no options. Y'all got too many options. Eliminate the options. Now, some people are going to say I'm crazy, and they might be right. But I'll tell you what I do know. I do know what it takes to succeed. Because not only have I done it for myself, but I've done it for other people. And you all got too many options. You're juggling too much. What happens is you got option here. You got this option here. And before you know it, you're doing this. And guess what? You're moving sideways. Life is forward. It's not left, it's not right, it's not behind you. It's in front of you. And the only way you're getting is identifying where you're at right now and where you want to go. But once you get that, guess what? Now that you have that piece, I'm going to show you how to structure a plan behind it. Now, some of you are going, well, Demo, hold up. I don't know. I don't know if I really want to do this. Guess what? That's that little talk that's been holding you back. You see, you all have this little thing. Could be your ego, could be something that's just sitting you back, and it's always holding you back. And it's always that little voice that pops up, right? When you say, man, I really want to do this. And it says, oh, but you know, what if we don't make no money? Oh, you know, what if we disappoint somebody? Or what if we fail? That little voice is cool. It's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be there to protect you. You can take it as a critic. As a critic that's there to inform you, give you another option. But it's not the definitive voice in your life. You are. And today you're going to take it back. You're going to put that voice in check, and you're going to start moving forward. Because this is what happens. When you focus on one outcome, I want you all to write this down. Focus is an acronym. And this might be the most important thing I say all day, which is focus is follow one course until successful. See, once you follow one course and you start building success, it's easy. You got the formula. You take that same formula. If you do it in your career, you implement it in your life. You implement it in your marriage. You implement it in your kids. You implement it when you're mentoring young women. You implement it when you're doing your artistry career, when you're helping these other artists develop their careers. This is what you do, because now you know what success looks like. Success isn't this weird, crazy thing. It's one thing. It's success. It's one formula. Once you get it, you modify it. It's not that difficult. I cheat. I always find successful people. See, I'm going to tell you the truth. You know why I really come here? Well, the reason why I really come here is for y'all, because I come here to teach. But there's an underlying truth to why else I come here. Because I always come back and I interview all the Hall of Famers. And I dissect what they're doing. I say, okay, so how'd you do that? How'd that happen? Man, what'd you do there? And they're sitting there thinking, I'm interested. I'm interested, all right. I'm going to freak they do that, because I'm about to go figure out some more stuff to do. Because success leaves clues. I love that. Tony Robbins said, success leaves clues. If you find successful people and you do what they're doing, or you listen to what they're saying, the chances of you having success are going up. See, a lot of times we're surrounded by people that aren't really successful. You know, there's people that go and they say, yo, I'm going to invest, right? This is my favorite. So I said, man, I'm going to go invest. I'm going to go into stockbrokers. And then they go to John, their neighbor, say, John, what do you think about these stocks? Oh, I think Carnival's doing good and Apple. What the heck does John know about stocks? You think they'd go to somebody that knows about that. But that's what we do. You see, some of you have some great ideas. And then you go speak to your homeboy or your homegirl and say, yeah, what'd you think about this? They're like, well, you know, that could be cool. No, you know, you need to change the drums. You don't know what you're doing. Or, you know, that's a terrible camera shot. No. Like, what do they know? They're a student just like you. You see what I'm saying? You got to go where success is. You got to go there and you got to extract the information. So now that you have an outcome, this is what I want you to do. I want you to pick a time on when you're going to get that. Some of you just froze and turned white. Listen, it's okay. Think of the goal and think of time, whether it be 5 years. I picked 10 when I did mine, but there's a reason. See, if you don't put a time on something, it's always going to go, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Your dream needs to have an urgency. Y'all hear me? Y'all with me, right? You sure? Your dream needs to have an urgency because it's urgent. You can't wait for this. You can't wait for life to pass you by. It needs to happen now. Anytime you set a goal, an outcome, a result, you put a time on it. Now some of you are saying, I don't know. I don't care. Pick a time. I pick goals sometimes, and I mean, you can see sometimes I get a little cocky. I'm like, oh, I could do that in 2 months. 2 years later, I'm still doing it. But I'm still moving towards getting it. So it doesn't matter whether the time is right or not. It's just to get you going that this is urgent. It's a priority. I need to make it happen. The next piece I'm going to show you is one of the bigger pieces, which is we don't have rules for success and what we do. And what I mean by rules, you got to have rules of engagement for your dreams and your goals. What is the priority that your goal is at? See, some people say it's the most important thing, but then when it comes time for something will come up. For instance, you'll have, how many of you have had an exam or a test and you say, man, I'm going to nail this test. But then all of a sudden something comes up, like there'll be a dope party or a great festival, or something will come in and you get distracted, or you get an opportunity, and all of a sudden you go do that and you come back and you don't get the result you want out of the exam. Or you have something that you really want to do. You have a project. They're like, man, I want to turn this in. I'm not going to say nobody's name. But you have a project, per se, and you have somebody that has had a lot of experience with projects like yours. And you tell that person, yo, get this in and put it out. And then a year later, they're still working on the same project. Does anybody know who that is? Anybody know anybody like that? So, listen, this is what you got to do. You got to have rules for yourself. You got to say, listen, there's rules of engagement. That's what I call them. They're rules of engagement. And these are what the rules state. For myself, when I was going out in my career, I was so determined to get it in, to get this thing done, that I put everything on the back burner. I said, okay, no matter what, I'm going to sacrifice family, friends, money, anything it is just to get to this goal. Those were my rules for me at that point in my life. Now for you, for instance, you got children. So being that you have children, you might say, my rules of engagement might be, okay, I'm willing to do this, but I'm not going to sacrifice time with my kids. I'm not going to sacrifice time with my children taking them out. So if something comes up with that, then I know, okay, this has to take a sidestep. It doesn't matter what the rules are. Everybody's rules are different. Not everybody can say, I will sacrifice everything for this one thing right now, because the reality is some of you are going to have to pay some money back when you leave out of here. So finances are going to be a big part of it. So some of you are going to have to get another job, which is okay. But you have to have those rules. Okay, well, as long as I can pay financially so I don't get in a bigger hole and get stuck working this job forever, I'm going to have to do my work. I'm going to have to go to my new employer for a time period. But I'll sacrifice not going out. For maybe instead of going out every other weekend, I'll go out once a month or once every 3 weeks. Just come up with rules, things that fit for you. Because if you don't come up with rules, it's a wrap. Your dream will always take a hit. Because why? It's a dream. It ain't real yet. It's just an idea. So this idea, it hasn't been created yet. But then life starts happening. You say, oh, I need to do this. And then you start justifying it and saying, well, I need to do this because if I don't do this, I'll never get to that. Sometimes that'll be true, but a lot of times it won't be. So you got to have rules for what that is. Okay, my rule is that, for me, health and vitality is everything. Because if I'm not healthy, I don't have energy. And energy is massive for me. Because sometimes I'm speaking for 8 hours. And then I got to go to the studio and deal with crazy personalities. And that goes for days, weeks at a time. Like if I'm not healthy, I'm screwed. And if I'm not working, I can't make no money. I can't do the things that I love doing. So health but nothing, I worked out the other night at like 2 a.m. I was in bed and I was like, oh man, I got to get up. Went to the gym, spent 20, 25 minutes and went back. And I'm telling you, people are like, oh man, you must love doing it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate sitting there having to lift, having to run. I'm like, I'd rather be sleeping, reading, doing something else. But it's that important. That's a rule for me. So your rules of engagement, think about them. What are they? Some of you are looking at me like, man, I have no idea what those are. I'll tell you where to start. Start with what you're doing right now. Look at the past week. What is it that you've done in the past week, the past month? And take inventory of that. Like, yo, did that really help me? Did hanging out with, this dude, did that really help me? I spent, 6 hours with him playing PlayStation. Did that really help me? Some of you say, yeah, man, it helped me come up with ideas to create ideas for gaming. Or, damn, I got some really good sound effects ideas. Okay, that's cool. If it's helping you work towards what you're trying to get to, I'm all for it. Even if at times it could seem like it's not really productive. If you feel it's productive, you are driving the show. I'm not. I'm just giving you some ideas. You take the ideas and you run with it. Now, what I'm about to say is the most important thing I'll say all day. And that is this. If you're failing to plan, you're planning to fail. If you don't have a plan, it's a wrap. It ain't gonna happen. If you have it in your head, you're dead. That's like it gotta be on paper. You gotta write it down. And you gotta think about it. You see, a lot of you, I'm not gonna say no names, I'm not even gonna look at nobody because you know who you are. Some of you have spoken to quite a bit in the past couple of days, and you're just a couple months out. Some of you are a month out, and you still ain't got no idea of what you're gonna do. And it's not that you don't got options, you're just scared to make a decision. But you've made a decision. And now I want you to stick to it. And it's really easy to do. I mean, it seems like it isn't, because both of y'all are like, man, it's just so difficult when I start looking at all these things I want to do. That's great. That's great to have great ideas and want to do all these things. But the most important thing is to do one. And then when you get that one done, you go to the next one. And then when you get that one done, you go to the next one. I'm gonna give you something. I'm gonna plant a seed so you can see what I'm talking about. When I left here, all I wanted to do was be a producer. But I didn't even know how to play. I didn't even know how to play. I didn't know how to program. Man, I thought I had rhythm. I didn't have no rhythm, as I came to find out. But that's what I wanted to do. But I was like, okay, that's where I want to get to, but how am I going to get there? Okay, I went to Full Sail. And then when I got here, I learned about engineering. And I was like, wow, you don't got to know anything about music to be an engineer. All you got to know is the technical aspect. I'm like, that completely evens the playing field. Some of you understand, do y'all get that? Some of you have gone through that. You've learned something, you say, wow. Whether it be in film, whether it be in animation, you came in thinking one thing and then you saw something else. You're like, wow, this is dope. I can do this. That's what happened to me. So now I said, okay, this is where I want to get to. Something came up, engineering. I said, okay, does this work? Oh yeah, that works, because that's a stepping stone. So I said, okay, I added that. I'm going to be a great engineer. And then I started working towards that. And then when I became an engineer, I was like, oh, forget producing. This is amazing. But inside, I still wanted to be a producer. And then that kept evolving. And before I knew it, I was mixing. And then before you know it, I was producing. And I was like, wow, I did it. Yo, let me paint something for you that's going to make you all smile. 6 years out of here, I was a multi-millionaire. I had made more money than I know what to do with. Like, I had houses. I was traveling the world. I'm still doing it. 6 years out. Think 6 years from now, you can have all this. You can have nice cars if that's what you're into. You can have nice clothes. You can go to nice places. Man, that's really nice. Yeah, I would like that. I think you can all have that. 6 years. That's nothing. It was a blink of an eye. And because of that, it's set forth. When I got to that, I was like, well, cool, I'm going to quit. I got it already. I'm good. I'll invest my money. I know how to do that. I got great people around me. I'll never have to work again. That lasted about 2 years. And then I was bored to death. Bored to death. I was like, man, what am I going to do? And other opportunities came. Within music, I was able to go on tour. I toured with Justin Timberlake. Me and Timberland would do the intermission. How many of you saw the Future Sex Love Show? Anyone see it? Oh, yeah, like me and Timberland would do the intermission. Like, man, you the kid that 7 years prior didn't even know how to play is now playing world tour with the hottest selling artist at the time, 18,000 people. Do you understand what that feels like? That wasn't my goal. That wasn't my dream. That wasn't anything. I wasn't even thinking about that. I didn't even know that was possible. But what was possible was the idea that I can be a producer because that's what I wanted. And I didn't give myself an option. I was like, man, this is what I want. I really want this. I want to prove people wrong in my entire life. I know y'all can relate to this. How many times somebody tell you can't do something? You're crazy. Have you lost your mind? Oh my God, that's going to be catastrophic. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. I mean, come on, show of hands. How many people have gone through that in their life? We've all gone through that. People hate, man. They hate so badly. And it's crazy. And they want to critique. And I'll tell you, I'm going to give you a secret what I found out. When people start criticizing you and they start bringing you down, it's not because they're really looking down on you. It's because they're seeing something in you that they see in themselves and they don't want to admit the fact that they're messing up and they failing. So it's easier for them to critique you and say, you know what? You don't know what you're doing. You're going to mess up. Because the fact is, that's where they're at. And that's probably where they're going to be. Because 95% of people, that's what they do. They lollygag through life, hoping to make it safely through death. And that's what's going to happen, because that's what they want. But y'all don't want that. You want more than that, or no, you wouldn't be here. That's what I want y'all to understand. You're already winning. People never get to this step. They never go and commit. You've committed. You committed your time. You committed your money. I mean, the money you can get back. The time you can't. You've empowered yourselves. And that's scary. Because now you gotta push through it. You gotta take it. You gotta complete this. But I'm here to tell you, you can do it. And it's easy to do. But you gotta do it. So we talked about it, getting the outcome, getting the goal. Mine was to be a producer. Folks, that turned in from that, I told you, world tours, all this stuff within music. That's been amazing. I've had an amazing career. But I'm gonna tell you now, music is a jobby. It's just a hobby I get paid for. It's not even what I really do. This is what I do. I go around, I teach, I consult, I speak. That's what I love doing. I love being able to help people get to where they're going and where they want to get to. I have other businesses way outside of music. Music is maybe like 3% of the money I make. And most of that money I use to fund a lot of the charity stuff I do. But I would have never been able to do these things if it wasn't for music. And it wasn't for that idea of, I just want to be a producer. I want to be the best at it. I don't want to be top 5. I want to be number 1. I wasn't the number 1 producer, even though I worked with the number 1 producer and we had a lot of number 1 hits. I ended up being the number 1 mixer for a couple of years, which was a nice feat to have that. So yeah, I didn't really accomplish the goal, but come on. Come on. Did I fail at it? Of course not. That'd be ridiculous. My life is extraordinary because of it. And the great thing about it is, not only have I enjoyed it, but man, the people I love have gotten to enjoy that. My siblings, my mother, their life has improved because of this. So if you're not doing it for yourself, if you need something more to drive you, man, get somebody else. Do it for your kids. Man, I got a daughter. She's the reason why I push every day. Because I'm like, I don't want her to go and be like, my daddy's a sucker. I don't want to be around like, my daddy's a G. You should see what he's doing now. Like, she's watching this right now probably. So it's, man, you got to find something that drives you. If you can't do it with your passion, pick something. So once you've identified it, you put a time on it, right? You've gotten the rules of engagement. Draw up the plan. Well, what's the first step? So what's the first step in some of your plan? Young lady, what's your name? Susie. So you're in film. So what are you planning to do when do you graduate? Next month. Oh, you're one of those. Okay. Can we get Susie a mic for a second? Yeah, I'll give Susie a round of applause, man. Come on. So, Susie, right now, before you came in here, because I know you got a different plan now, what was your plan before you came in here?
Before this class?
Yeah, like what were you planning to do this next month? What do you want to do? Let's start with that question.
Okay. Well, actually, I was planning to go to the class next door, and they ran out of bracelets, so I ended up here. And but I want to write and direct my own films, and I want to run my own production company.
Stand up? Yeah.
And I want to run my own production company
Okay.
eventually, but I want to direct and write my own stuff.
Okay, where?
I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. What is your plan right now to do that? leaving here?
Honestly, I don't have a plan because
Okay.
I've been doing what you said as far as balancing. I was pretty much stuck between two things. And I think just sitting here, I'm like, I feel so emotional because I just figured it out. Because I have an interest in cinematography, and it was like pulling me. And I think it was like a distraction. And people were like, yeah, go do cinematography. And I went to a couple classes this week for it, where they're talking about camera stuff and specs, and everything was just going over my head. And I felt so overwhelmed. And I'm like, I don't know any of this stuff.
Okay.
And I realize now that I can learn cinematography, but I need to stick to one thing, like what you said, because I've always wanted to just write and direct.
Right.
I can learn cinematography, but I need to stay the course. And I don't have to know everything about cinematography because that's not my ultimate goal. I just need to know some fundamentals so that it can support the visions that I have to write and direct. But I don't have to, because I just felt like I need to know this stuff. I don't know what to do. But now I do. I just need to focus on writing and directing.
Man, give her a round of applause for that. Come on, give her a round of applause for that. That's incredible. That's incredible. That's all you need to do. Listen, that's great where you're at. That's called a breakthrough. Breakthroughs are amazing. That's amazing. Any help you can get from me, you let me know. And I got you. But you're on the right course. Just sit there, think about it. See, folks, we don't think. We think, but we don't think. Thinking is actually sitting there and asking good questions. Like, yo, what is it that I really want to do? What am I going to do next month when this show is over and I got to continue on? And spending time to think and marinate on that. The quality of your life is determined by the questions you ask yourself. The quality of your life is determined by the questions you ask yourself. You got to ask yourself better quality questions. Somebody else. Give me somebody else. Who's graduating in the next month? Graduating in the next month? What's your plan? Stand up. Give me a mic, please. Say your name?
My name is Pedro Zimmer.
Pedro Zimmer. I'll give him a round of applause.
And a couple months ago, I was focused on doing game and film music. But then I had a class with Fight Ren, and I just fell in love with artist production. And this is what I want to do. This is where I feel good. It's in the studio, producing.
Okay.
And right now, no one ever has a plan. That's the problem with us, right? So what I'm trying to do right now is trying to get to know people so I can get in touch with the guy that I really, really follow, which is Jack King, with the producer for many bands like Kings of Leon, of Monsters and Men, and stuff like that. So I can learn with him because I'm a very big fan of his work. And basically this is my plan right now.
Where does Jack work?
Nashville.
Where?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
Nashville's a big place.
Yeah, I know. But I know he's a producer. He doesn't have his production house or something like that.
Okay. You see, if I told you I'm going to go out west, where do you think I'm going?
LA.
LA. See, I'm thinking Hong Kong. You see? Now, if I tell you I'm going to California, where do you think I'm going?
LA.
Okay, I'm thinking Sacramento. Just giving you an idea here. Mm-hmm. But if I told you I'm going to the record plant in West Hollywood, do you know where I'm going?
Record plant in West Hollywood.
Exactly. It's direct. See, you just hit Nashville. You stopped. That's what a lot of you are doing in your research. You're finding, okay, well, this is where it's at. You're just taking the first step. But research is a lot further than that. Unfortunately, we live in a culture that everybody thinks you get everything on Google, and it's the first thing you see is right. and you don't look for the argument. So you find an argument that fits what you want. So I love this. I always get in debates with people just to screw with them, especially about topics I know well. And they always want to look at Google and give me like the first one, but they don't have the counter argument, right? Because they don't do the research. Research isn't finding the first thing that comes to you. It's digging in deep. Your situation is very similar to my situation, right? Because I wanted to work at the Hit Factory to get access to these stars. But once I got to the Hit Factory, it's like, okay, well, who runs the Hit Factory? Similar question here. Well, where's Jack work? Right? Oh, Trevor runs the Hit Factory. Well, how long's Trevor been there? Well, Trevor's mother was the studio manager. You got to do research. Because you can go to Nashville. You know how many studios are in Nashville? Oh, yeah. You go crazy trying to find it. Man, just do research. Find out where he is. Find out the things he likes, the records he likes. In order to impress these people, I'm going to give you a gem. I wasn't really going to do this, but a lot of you have certain people. You can sit down. Thanks. Thank you, Pedro. Give Pedro a round of applause. A lot of you have certain people you want to work with. There might be certain directors you want to work with. There might be certain animators you want to work with, certain producers, certain artists. If there's certain key people you want to work with that you want to mentor with, in order to get access to these people, you got to know everything about them that you can. You have to do an incredible amount of research. You got to know more about that person than they know about themselves to even begin to put yourself in a position to get access to them. At which point you work backwards. Well, where do they work at? Where are they? David Farmer works at Skywalker, right? So if you wanted to work with somebody at Skywalker, you look at, okay, well, I want to work with Juan Peralta, who's at Skywalker. Well, I can't get access to Juan, but who else is there? Okay, Skywalker's located here. Who are some of the other people there? How can I get relationships with them? Okay, if I send my resume, I don't get a response, maybe I'll call them. Okay, well, if I call them and I don't get a response, most of you stop there. See, I don't stop there. I'll send Christmas cards. I'll send cookies. Do whatever the hell you got to do to get noticed. You know what I'm saying? You can't just stop because the door is going to slap you in the face. Because there's some research that shows that it takes up to 16 no's before you get a yes. That's a lot of no's. Think about it. And when people tell me no, all I hear is next. And someone says no, I just say, okay, next. All right, next. Next. And eventually somebody's going to say yes. See, some of you stop because the plan that you originally designed isn't working. Well, that's why it's a plan. It's meant to be adjusted. Thank you. It's meant to be adjusted. It's like when someone's building a house. They might build a house, but then they start doing the foundation, and they realize, yo, this isn't really going to work here. I'll get to you in a second. This isn't really going to work here. What do I need to do? You make adjustments to the plan. Can you get him a microphone, please? And once you make adjustments to the plan, then you can keep going. The first plan isn't always going to be the best plan, but it's a plan. It's a start.
Hey, then, well, thank you. My name is Mitchell. I actually have a question building on what he said.
Yeah.
For like a plan, would you recommend working somewhere where someone who has inspired you or who something who you want to work with, or would you recommend working somewhere where you can kind of build your own thing? So is it better to work somewhere where someone you would like to work with works, or do your own thing?
If you can get the opportunity to work where the person is you want to work, go for that. If it's somebody like I grew up listening to Missy and Timbaland. At the time, they weren't working at the Hit Factory. And I was there working with Scott Storch, a bunch of other producers. But when they got there, I was just like, this is it. My mind was set on just getting to Timbaland. But Timbaland had his own engineer. So I was like, okay, I can't get to Timbaland because he has Jimmy Douglas, who's been there forever. This isn't going to be an easy bout. Okay, I'm working with Missy. I'll get to Missy. Eventually, I can get to Timbaland. At least I'll be in the room with Timbaland. I'll get to know Timbaland. And I'll give you a couple gems with this, but working with Missy, like, man, Missy she's a tough woman, man. I did not really enjoy working with Missy all the time. Like, that woman was ferocious. And like, she just she just messed with me, man. And if this camera wasn't rolling, I'd be cursing right now because that woman was, ferocious. It made me a better person, a better engineer for it, but I did not enjoy it. I mean, anytime somebody else came up, I was like, oh, man, please, let me just work with somebody else for a couple of days because I'm going to go crazy with her. Man, that woman made me cry. All right? Do I look like I cry? That woman she got me so mad. I'm like, I'm going to kill this woman, man. swear to God, she got me so mad one day. I was crying. I went to bed. Marcella was there. She'll tell you the story. She'll tell me, she's like, are you crying? Oh my God, it's so sappy. I'm not crying, but hey, Missy. You know, like, she had me mad. But I stuck with it because I knew, okay, eventually I'll get to Timberland. And eventually I got the shot to get with Timberland. And then that was a catastrophic failure. If some of you heard this story, Jimmy Douglas pretty much ran me out of the room. Like, we were working in a room that was extremely difficult to get into. It was a digital room. I was completely the analog kid, and I had no idea how to work in this room. And I got a quick little 2-minute tutorial, went into the session, everything went wrong. Jimmy called my boss that day 26 times. I woke up the next morning and said, I'm fired. These people are going to get rid of me. The only reason they didn't take me off the session was because everything was booked. But for 2 weeks, Jimmy wouldn't even let me come. He just, every time something came up, he would leave the room. You want to see embarrassing, man? He would leave the room and go into another room and pull another assistant out of his session, bring him in front of me and go, what's wrong? Man, my ego was crushed. But I refused to let my story end there. I refused. And I went and I spent after that, I just spent learning the manual, learning everything about that room. By the end of the week, I knew that room better than everybody in that building. Still didn't get my shot. But I waited, and I plotted. Trust me, I plotted. Because with success, you got to plot. I said, oh boy, when this old man sleeps, I got him. And I waited. And sure enough, sessions started getting longer and longer. He was old. He was getting tired and tired. I was hungry. I was young. I was ready. And sure enough, one day he went, started taking a nap. He took a nap. I went right in that chair. And see, I had caught something. Because see, this is it. When you're in it, when you're in the game, you start seeing what's happening. You see, if every day you're playing, how many of y'all know basketball well, right? If every day you go and you watch the San Antonio Spurs and you watch them every day, now it might take you a year, it might take me 6, sure, you might figure it out in 3, but eventually we're going to figure out where the kink in the armor is. See, when you're there and you're in it, not at your house, but you're in doing what you're doing, you start figuring out where the kinks in the armor are. And I waited, and I sat there, and sure enough, I saw it. I was like, holy smokes. This gentleman is still working like it's 1980. He has no idea the power of a computer and what a computer can do. He still treats that thing like it's a tape machine. Like, this is the digital, this guy has no idea. Oh, I got him. Sure enough, we were working on the session, and the songwriter came in. Jimmy went to sleep, and we started working on the song. And the songwriter was Static Major, who wrote Lollipop with Lil Wayne back in the days. Unfortunately, he passed a couple years ago, but he was a dear friend of mine. And Static did the song. And when he did the song, he told me, he said, okay, I'm going to change the arrangement. So the hook is now going to be this verse, and this verse is now going to be the bridge, and the bridge is going to be this. So he had all this stuff that he wanted rearranged. So I made markers and notes, and I pretty much set all these quick keys so I could do it on the fly, and I didn't do it because I knew eventually I had to play the song. And what happened? Static finishes the last line of the song, and in comes Timberland, who at that point thought I was literally mentally handicapped. He just looked at, he wouldn't even look at me. He's like, I'm scared to talk to you because stupid rubs off, and I don't need any more of that. So he's just like, I'm not with that. He wouldn't even look at me. This is your hero. I mean, folks, this is about as bad as it can get. I'm practically about to get fired. Here's my hero looking at me like I'm just the dumbest person on the planet. And here's the guy who holds the key to the kingdom who just wants me out of his face. So we sit there. And sure enough, I got the computer, and I'm sitting like this, and they come in, this couch, and I could see the door. They come in, Jimmy sits there, Tim, everybody sits there. Static walks in, and Static starts saying, okay, great. So now do the bridge and and do this, and he starts going through the arrangement he already told me a couple minutes ago. Man, all of a sudden you hear Timberland. I waited for it. Timberland goes, oh man, that's going to take forever. I went pop, 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 pop. Hit the space bar, song played, everybody was like, oh, I could hear it. Music was loud, and I could hear the air coming out of them. Like they had just seen something they had never seen before. Man, that song played, and when it finished, they were all like, oh, we got a hit. Let's go to the club. Jimmy walked up to me and said, wow. He said, that was incredible. Show me how to do that, and I'll show you how to do this. Little did he know I could show him how to do that and this. And, a couple months later, he gave up his job to me. A man who had that job for 15, 16 years. He was not planning to go anywhere. Said, great, take this, because now I can do something else. My whole career was based on that. Pretty much that moment defined it. And it was just because I was there. I was in the game. The plan that I had was not to get chopped up by Timberland and have Jimmy think I'm an idiot and all this. That was not in the plan. Guess what? There's going to be stuff like that that's going to happen. But you're going to persevere because now you know it can happen. And you just say, okay, what do I need to do to get through this? I knew right away I needed to learn more. I needed to educate myself. I needed to put myself in a better position to win. And guess what? I won. And it's nice. But you can do that too. You can do that too. So now that you have this plan, a lot of you written it down. If you haven't written it down, you got to write it down. Get it out of your head, get it on paper. Put it somewhere where you see it. When you see it every day, guess what? You start thinking. This is the trick to it. Some of you are like, man, I think. No, you don't. You need to think. And if you have a reminder, which is a plan of your life that you're going to do out of here, you're going to think. If it's in your head, other things can come in. You can only see one picture at a time in your head. So usually it's the one that gives you the less amount of pain. Thinking about your career is going to bring up a lot of pain sometimes. So you start thinking, oh yeah, no, I'll just work on this. I'll work on my portfolio some more. Y'all got great portfolios, okay? You don't need to keep working on your portfolio when you're a month out from school. Work a little bit on what's going to happen after school. Portfolios are great. I love that they're doing that. I didn't have that. I think it's a great thing to have because it's teaching you how to start something and finish it. It's fantastic that they've incorporated that. But folks, you got to start planning for the future. You got the plan. Write it down. Make a poster board of it. Draw a map. Get creative. All of y'all are creative. Do something that looks amazing. Put it up in your room. Stare at it. Put it on top of your bed. Whatever it takes. Do it. And then think about it. Spend some time every day, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just thinking about it. Looking at that plan going, okay, damn, I still don't know where Jack works at. He's in Nashville. What studio is he at? Let me check the credits. Oh, he's worked at this studio quite a bit of time. Maybe I should call that studio and see what they're doing. Maybe I should send my resume. Maybe I should send Jack flowers. I don't know. Think of something. Maybe not, no, maybe wait on the flowers, but you get the idea, you know what I'm saying? Pedro, you got to go after these things. You can't sit there and wait, because if not, it's not going to happen. Spencer, we got any questions online from Jose, Teresa, anybody?
Not yet.
Okay, well, if they do,
checking with them.
I'm here. Any questions thus far before I keep going? Let's open it up to some. I know some of you got it. Don't be scared. I don't bite. Give it to me. Name and where you're from, please.
My name is Nestor Vera. I'm here from Orlando originally.
Awesome. You guys can go with Chan.
So,
Okay.
when I told you I lost a job, a really good job, I was last 5 of basically candidates, but I was the only one that didn't have a degree. So that's the reason why I didn't lose it. Then the whole financial bubble closed and payments started being hard to make on the mortgage and stuff like that. So I lost my home, but I came here. So now the thing is that like Setbacks has been the story of my life. But right now, I'm 3 months out from graduation right now, and I got an opportunity to apply for an amazing position and a job, and it would set me financially. But yesterday I met a couple of people that I think that that's really what I want to do. Okay. But I'm looking at the family, like as right now, my daughter hurt herself. I got people right now, like things going wrong. This is the perfect place to fail, guys. This is, just believe me, I know from experience, fail here, not out there. Right. So, you actually just, I figured out the problems. I mean, like I'm shaking because I did not want to leave this, and my wife understood that. So I had a friend.
Yo, if you got to go, it's being recorded, man.
No. The thing is that it's like happens all the time, so I'm always prepared now. Okay. Setbacks have prepared me. So I hey, meet my wife outside. She's bringing the baby, like the other one. I'll meet you outside as soon as I'm done here. Mm-hmm. But this is important because I need to hear this. I need to know, this is what because right now, seriously, I could do anything I want to do, and I know I'm going to be successful. I've gotten to that point. I'm going to pick A, B, and C. And if I even do all three, I know I'm going to be successful because I have a powerful team. The whole thing is I just want to like basically just more of a comment than anything.
Yes.
Is I failed in within these doors for the last 4 years. Now I'm on my master's, and basically it's just fail here because this is the best place you're going to find somebody who says, you could have done it this way, could have done it that way, and now I know. And that's what I'm saying. It's like if there's anything else you can tell me or anybody else now that where I'm at. Because I know there's other people exactly like me, but they're just not saying anything.
Right.
They're quiet. They're afraid to speak up. I'm not afraid to speak up.
No, you're
Hell,
not.
not no more. Hell, not no more. Because if you stay quiet, that's when you fail even more.
Absolutely.
So.
Now, give him a round of applause, sir. So forget all that other stuff. I'm going to say this right here is the most important thing I'm going to say all day. Willie Jolly said it best. A setback is just a setup for a comeback. Setback is just a setup for a comeback. Listen, you're going to fail here, you're going to fail outside. There ain't nothing that's going to stop that from happening. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to have people tell you you're ridiculous. You're going to have people that you don't know what you're doing. You're going to have people that are going to try to belittle you, make you think that you ain't worth it. They're going to people that are going to look at you and say, you're a woman, you can't do it. Forget about it. You're wasting your time. You're going to look at you and be like, oh, man, no, you can't do that. That's never been done. You'll hear all that stuff. Let them. Take no as your vitamin. Take it every day. When they sit there and tell you can't do it, just eat it up. And just know, because one day you're going to come back and be like, sucker, I told you I was going to do it. And that's the reality of it. You're going to fall down. It's going to happen. It happens to all of us. It happens to me all the damn time. But I'll tell you what, Muhammad Ali said it best. When he fought Frazier in the third round, he went down. He went down that third round so hard, he popped right back up. They asked him later, said, Ali, why did you get up? Why did you get up so fast? Why didn't you wait for the count? He said, the canvas ain't no place for a champion. It ain't. And y'all are champions. It's going to happen. You're going to fall. Get back up. There's going to be times it's going to suck. It's going to be, you ain't going to know what to do. Do something. Because the reality is, you're all champions. You don't deserve to be on the canvas. Sometimes life will do that to you, man. Especially having children. Yeah, that's probably the greatest gift anyone can have. How many of you have children here? Right? It's incredible. And, we have a responsibility to our children. And just because we have a responsibility for our children, a lot of people think, well, I just have to sacrifice everything in order to do that. I'm not from that school. I think the best thing you can do for your children is model success. Because children see success and they see it and they say, oh, snap, this is it. And when you're modeling that success and they're seeing, man, my daddy works hard every day. He's here for me. He's doing what I need. He's always here for me. He loves me. He cares for me. They go and they do that. And guess what? They spread that. That's an epidemic we have in our society today, man. It's like every man for himself. It's like, yo, we in this together. We all in this together. Like everybody in here is connected in one form or another. I learned just as much from everybody else as they learn from me. And I try to help and give back as much as I can. And the more you do that, the more it comes back to you. But there's no greater reward when you do that for your children. When you can give that to them and give them a structure, a blueprint, man, that's the greatest thing you can do for them. It's going to be tough. Trust me, there's sometimes that I'm like, man, it's crazy, and I have other friends that have children, have wives, have husbands that are like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do. I feel like I got to sacrifice my life for it in order to make it work. I said, no, you don't need to sacrifice your life. You need to understand that is your life. But there's other parts of life. Embrace those things. Embrace the struggle. Once you embrace it, it doesn't faze you. Once you embrace failure, you say, oh shit, okay, it's another one of those things, huh? Oh, well, okay. I give myself a 90-second rule. It wasn't always a 90-second rule. It used to be a half-an-hour rule where something bad would happen. I would sit there sappy, like, oh, my God. I sit there depressed, mad. Something tragic would happen or something I could have prevented. Sometimes ignorance, my ego would get in the way. And it would cost me. I give myself 90 minutes, 90 seconds these days. Sometimes a little bit more, depending on how big it is. But then I command my mind. I said, yo, when that marker hits that point, it ain't no more being sappy. Now it's coming a solution. What am I going to do now? I give myself a deadline. Sometimes, man, life happens. You got to soak it up. Things suck. This young lady lost her brother. Like, that's more than a 90-second thing. It takes a bit. But you get to a point where you just draw the line in the sand. You say, I am not going to let this define who I am. I'm going to honor them. I'm going to honor myself by being something great, because now they don't have the opportunity to do that. On that note, this might be the most important thing I say all day. Folks, your ego is not your amigo at all. Let it go. You can succeed. You can succeed. Plant that in your mind now, that you are successful already. You've succeeded already. Folks, your life started as a success. You won the sperm race. That's a hell of a race. There was a lot of people that went on that race. Y'all made it. That's it. Spencer, you got a question for us?
Yes, I do. Leah online.
Leah.
Graphic
What's up, Leah?
design. She's a graphic design online student. She wants to know, what is the first thing you would suggest for online students to do to stand out?
Online students to stand out. If you can't get access to the campus or the resources of the campus, it's just that, identifying where it is you want to go, the things that you want to do once you finish your degree. And just because you're online doesn't mean you can't start looking to what's next. It's great that you're online, you're able to participate. I've seen the online program, it's phenomenal. But start asking yourself those questions. What is it that I want? What is it that I want to do? What are my rules of engagement? What's the time that I'm going to put on it? What's the plan? What's the actual plan once I get this degree? Now you have the degree, what are you going to do with it? See, it's even harder for you online students because you're there, you're at home. So you have to really get into this and really start drawing up this plan, because these young men and women are fortunate that they're here. You're not. So you're the driving force. But this is what I believe. I believe the online students actually got an edge. And the edge is, because you're not here, you know you got to persevere, because you're in your environment and you want to get out of that environment. You want to create a great life for yourself. So come up with the outcome, put the time limit on it, get your rules of engagement, draw up the plan, write it out, and think about it. Do that and you're off your way to the races. You got another one?
I do. I have one more
Okay.
from Jose, who's an audio production.
Jose. Okay, what's up, Jose?
Jose wants to know, how do you keep up relations with companies before you graduate? Like, practically, is it email, or what do you say to companies when you're trying to make those connections while in school?
While in school. Well, this is the thing. Emails, they won't really check, to be honest with you. I rarely have seen that strategy work. You got to think a little bit outside the box. So I like to think, and since all of you are here and you're listening, go old school, man. Draw a letter. People don't write letters. Send a postcard. Call. If that doesn't work, find out. If you can't get to the management, find out who's under the management. Work down the line. And if that doesn't work, go check out the competitor. See what the competitor's doing. Get some resource on them. Do research. Research on these companies and do anything you can to stand out. Shoot, send a video message. Nobody does that. Hey, hi, I'm a student, and this is what I'm thinking of doing, and boom. Put yourself where you separate yourself from what everybody else is doing. So you know what everybody else is doing because it's initially what you want to do. So change that. Do something different. You do something different, and you'll guarantee to get yourself results. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I've thrown a lot of stuff at you. Y'all with me still? Yeah. Y'all shy? I see a lot of head. I can't hear you. Y'all with me still? Okay. So now we're going to get into the bread and butter of this thing, this is always fun. Let's see if I got anything here. Do I got any? Oh, I still got your $20 you gave me. Who wants $20? What's your name? Charles. So What did Charles do that none of you did? He went and got it. Now, I want to know what y'all were thinking when I did that. Somebody, what were you thinking? Waiting for permission. What were you thinking with the hat? Waiting for permission. What were you thinking here with the laptop? Same thing. Anybody thinking something different? What were you thinking? You want 20,000? Okay, so you wanted more. I thought you were going to make an analogy. You thought I was going to make an analogy, so you thought I was going to do something else. Where am I going with it? What were you thinking? Right here? Yeah, you. Yes. Okay, so you were just thinking someone else is going to do it. You just took yourself out of the equation. You weren't even like, that definitely ain't for me. What were you thinking? I was going to tell you how to earn it. Okay, so you were waiting for just instructions on what to do. Folks, this might be the most important thing. I mean, forget all that other stuff I said. This is the most important thing I'm going to say all day. How do you feel right now, Charles? Charles, do you feel satisfied?
Yes.
Oh, so you got some satisfaction out of that. Yes. Let's give it up for Charles. Charles got some satisfaction. Folks, satisfaction. There's a magic word inside of satisfaction. It's action. You can't get satisfaction without action. You see, Charles didn't know what the hell was going on. Charles just saw $20. He said, man, I want to eat. I'll get that money one way or another. He didn't know what I was going to do. He didn't know if I was going to snap at him. Remember what you're thinking? He didn't care. All he saw was his outcome, which was, I'm going to get that $20. He ran. I saw him get up. I knew he was coming for it, too. He almost ran over this poor gentleman with the camera. I said, oh, man. But he knew. He said, I got my outcome. I'm going to get that $20. You see, he wasn't thinking. All of you were thinking. This gentleman took himself out of the game altogether. He said, oh, man, it ain't for me. I can't wait to see what somebody else is going to do. You see what I'm saying?
Jose says if you got another 20, he'll be here in 30 minutes.
Yeah. I bet he will. Shout out to Jose. Shout out to Jose. He's ready to go. It's action. See, that's what's stopping all of you. You're all in your head. You're thinking too much. And you're coming up with these stories. She was coming up, well, I'm waiting for directions to see what's going to happen. I'm still laughing at the fact that you just said, man, I'll just go wait for somebody else to do it. Man, it ain't for me. Anybody else had anything different? I always get different responses when I pull this out.
I thought it'd be rude to take it from you.
You thought it'd be rude?
You would let them take it, so I was thinking maybe I'd take you out for it.
Fair enough. You still ain't got the 20 though, man. You see? That could happen. The reality is all those things are valid. It's valid. You know, you could have came up here and waited and been like, yo, man, that's rude. I don't want to offend him. He's out here doing what he's doing. That's understandable. But you're $20 less. You see, you could have came up here and figured that out. Learned that lesson and said, well, man, maybe next time I find something new. See, y'all learned something valuable, which is a lot more than $20. Usually I do that with 100. I just didn't usually keep cash on me. I bet it was 100, some of y'all would have just killed each other for that 100. So I'm glad it was 20. But it's just action. This is the whole thing. It sums it up in all this stuff is great. This is the biggest strategy out of all of them, which is just action. It's just doing it. And that's what separates everybody else from Hall of Famers. You look at any of the Hall of Famers, it's the one common theme they all run with. They all know what they want and they go get it. And they move. They don't wait. Yeah, they might analyze a little bit while they're doing it, but they're moving while they're analyzing. See, you could have thought about that walking up here. Say, man, I don't want to be rude, but let's see what happens. Can I get the 20? You could have. Charles didn't care. Charles said, I'm just going to get it. I'll deal with it. You don't like it? Oh, well. You're going to get yourself a burger, whatever you're going to do with it. So, let's give it up for Charles because that's... But it's action. It all comes down to action. You draw up your plan. You got now. Now listen, I know some of you are going to go back and you're going to overthink the goal and outcome you set up earlier. And you're going to try to talk yourself out of it. That's natural. It's going to happen. If you can replace it with a better plan that's more effective, cool. But I'll tell you right now, just stick with something. There's a young lady now. Is she in here? No, she's not. She was in the other room, and that's my favorite question to ask her. So what you going to do when you graduate? Oh, I graduate in June. What you going to do? I don't know. So there you are out there. And are you getting some good stuff out of this? You glad you came here, huh? I bet. But, you know, she has a great dilemma, and this is very relatable to some of you, which is right now she's doing makeup, and she loves makeup. It's what she loves. She really loves doing it. I can tell. I was watching her do it. I was like, man, she really loves this stuff. But her passion is singing. Now that's a dilemma. That's a pretty big dilemma, because now you got something you love doing, but she's not really as passionate about. She's really passionate about singing. And I could tell, because the moment I asked her about singing, she lit up like a Christmas tree. So some of y'all are going, man, you can relate to that. I got stuff that I love doing, like I love engineering, but man, I love to be a producer. Or I love doing this, but I want to be an artist. That's cool. But in her situation, and I'll share with you what I told her is, okay, you can always be an artist. You can always develop. Being an artist is a process that you're continuously evolving. You're being influenced. And all of you are artists. Don't get it twisted. You're all creators. You all create content. You're all artists in your own right. So this falls for anybody in this room. You're constantly evolving that. But I told her, like, you need to make a living. And unless you can get a job singing right away, you want to get something that's going to get you to that outcome. See, her outcome is to be a singer, just like mine was to be a producer. But in order for her to get there, well, she needs to eat, she needs to pay her bills, she needs to survive, she needs to get some kind of revenue. How lucky is she that she has something she loves doing? Some of us are like, man, I just want to do this. And if that doesn't work out, you got to go get a job to be able to get the income to survive, to continue to do that. She's fortunate if she got something she loves doing. If she loves doing it, great. Go do some makeup, and then you keep developing, you keep moving towards what you're going. Just because you set a goal right now doesn't mean it evolves, it changes. Mine change all the time. I constantly keep one with me, like constantly. And I look at it every day. Before I got here, I was reading. Some of y'all caught me reading, like, what's he doing? Stuff, running a mantra or something? Like, no, this is what I do. I look at it every day as a constant reminder of where I'm going, what I'm doing. I would tell y'all to do the same thing. I keep it with me. The other day, it fell out of my pocket. And y'all know Leslie came up, he's like, oh man, I knew this was yours, because who else carries their gold in their pocket? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm glad I didn't leave my gold on the floor, because they drive me mad. But I keep it with me, and I look at it every day as a reminder, because that way when things come up, or something comes up that I might get distracted, I look at it and say, oh yeah, no, this is what I need to be doing. Do you see what I'm saying? How y'all feeling? That's good? Y'all getting a lot of good stuff? So let's open up to some questions. I want to make sure I get some of the questions in. I know some of you got some things. This young lady up here. Name and program, if you could, please.
Hi, okay. My name's Azalea, and I'm doing film, and I'm in month 5, so I'm definitely talking to you. I'm sure everybody here has like more than just one passion, and actually lucky enough to really explore my other passion, like herself over there singing last night with like all my best friends here. And one of the strategies that you keep mentioning is that stick to one thing. So my question is, how do you know when to explore? When do you know, okay, I made it with this passion, now how do I sort of indulge? No. Pursue another one.
Okay, it's a good question. So you look for the one that you're really trying to shoot for. And when you're going down that road, see, because right now it's theory. You're thinking about it. When you start moving towards one, opportunities start presenting themselves. You see, when you only have one choice, that's no choice at all. 2 choices, now you got a dilemma. So should I do this or should I do that? Choice only happens when you at least have 3 or more options. When you're going down that road, other choices start coming. You're like, oh man, I can do this and I can do that. And now you can say, okay, does this work with where I'm going? And the most important question is this something I want to do? Is this something I want to guide my life to? I have a lot of different passions. I love working with incredible artists, whether they're in music, whether they're in film, whether they're in television. I love that. I love going around incredible business people and picking their brains and seeing, you know, I was fortunate enough not too long ago to be able to hear I forgot his gentleman's name, but he's the CEO of Airbnb. I was fascinated. He's a young dude. This company just went for $30 billion. Billions with a B. It's a lot of cake. And I was just like, wow. So I love that. I love learning from people like that. I also love running my businesses. I got a lot of passions. I'm a very passionate person. But I have one singular focus that I'm working on. Right now is to make a massive impact on whatever I'm doing and helping people as much as I can, whichever way I can contribute. So anything that works towards that is on my agenda. There's a lot of opportunities that come about, but I always ask myself, is this working towards a singular goal? See, you think of focus, following one course until successful, thinking it as tunnel vision. It's not tunnel vision. It's just vision. See, I'm looking this way, and I'm looking at that chair, or looking at this gentleman right here, but I can see all of you. And then I can see him moving. I can see this is going on. I can see, Spencer on his computer. I can see these things. And if something presents itself that works for what I'm trying to do here, I go to it. But I'm still following the one course. So it's just that. When you're on that road, you can have a better assessment of what it is you want to do. But where you're at now, you're in your head. Remember, in your head, you're dead. You got to get out of your head. Just go into action. When you start going into action, that starts coming about. Spencer?
So we have Frederick, who's an online audio production graduate.
So
how do you show your worth to someone that you want to work or learn from?
That's a great question. That's actually going to wrap it up. I want y'all to check out the Real Talk that I did last year. Okay? The Real Talk touches on a lot of these things. If you can't find it, it's on, I think my sibling did it. You go to democasanova.com. Not this Castellon last name, Casanova.com, and it's on that site. And if any of you log in and give me your information, I'll have a database here, and I'll start keeping in touch with a lot of you. But if you go there, it's there if you can't find it on the Full Sail site. But see it, because I touch on a lot of the psychology parts of these things. And it pretty much, I built this talk. Well, this talk got built last night, but the original talk for this talk came from that one. So I would check that out. But the most important thing that I spoke on that talk, and I'm going to sum it up here, is in order to separate yourself from everybody else, oh man, hold on. Now this is really the most important thing I'm going to say all day, without a shadow of a doubt. It's not your aptitude, it's your attitude that determines your altitude. It's your attitude that is going to get you to these places. It's going to give you access to these people. Nobody wants to be around somebody with a bad attitude. I mean, listen, you all have been here long enough. You've been exposed to a lot of people. There's some people you just don't want to be around. There's some people you see them in the back lot and you'll go the other way just so you don't have to run into them. If you really think about what it is about that person, you'll realize that it comes down to one. You'll sum it up into one thing. It's their attitude. Their attitude sucks. And it drags you down. For me, my attitude has always been, I've always been a learner. I've always wanted to improve myself, and I've always wanted to work in this industry, and I've always wanted to make a really big impact in whatever I was doing. And at times, I'm a bit, my confidence sometimes when I was younger came out very egotistical. So it was a battle I had to learn, something I had to develop. I knew it was holding me back. But I always had the attitude of, I'm going to make sure that this person is well taken care of. I'm going to make sure that the person I'm working for and I'm with knows that I'm here to make them not only a better person or, to make their life easier, to make sure they can get their job done, to make sure they can make more money. Whatever it was that drove that person, I came in with the attitude of, I'm going to do everything I can for this person. I'm going to serve this person to the T. And I'm even like that now. Like if I could, I would be up here for 8 hours. I would work with each one of you individually because that's how I am. It comes off like that. That's what I want to do. I want to contribute. I want y'all to get impacted by it. When people feel that, you get a response. Your employer feels that. When you go in and you say, listen, I love this place. I know all about this. Where is it that you want to work? Where is it that you work?
I teach high school
Right.
students technical programs, so I'm here learning how to help them.
Amazing. So her employer, I mean, y'all can see it. You see how much she just jumped around? Like, I love my job. It's amazing. You can see it. Like, that's a winning attitude. Her employer sees that and says, man, she's a winner. You see what I'm saying? Attitude is what drives that. When you have attitude and you're like, man, a good attitude will take you to the highest peaks of anywhere you want to climb. Especially when things are going to hell. Which when you start getting into work, you will see there will be times that things will look catastrophic. You'll be on a set and you'll be like, oh my God, you'll be in the studio and it just deadlines and people that weren't prepared all of a sudden now because they're not prepared, didn't do their job. Now you're stuck trying to clean up their mess and the world is crashing down. And there you come, man, I got you. Don't worry, I got it. People are like, this dude is crazy. But you know what? It's infectious. Madonna works for me, I'm convinced. Now, her people will tell you otherwise. She's one of my dearest friends, so she'll probably tell you otherwise. I am convinced the only reason she works for me is because when things go crazy, I'm sitting there like, oh, I got it. Don't worry about it. She's like, yo, I need a 12-minute Super Bowl set. The Super Bowl's only done 9 minutes. Oh, we'll figure it out. And inside, I'm going like, how the heck am I going to get 3 minutes? Did y'all ever watch that Super Bowl performance when Madonna did the Super Bowl? Like, it was like 10 minutes. She wanted, I think we did 12. The longest before that was like 9 and change. And in television, seconds are like countless amounts of money. When you're talking the Super Bowl, we're in the millions. It's no joke. And here she is saying, no, I need 12 minutes. Like, y'all figure it out. They're not going to give it to, oh, no, we'll figure it out. You're Madonna, don't worry about it. Inside, I'm going like, oh my God. I'm freaking, but it's like, you know what? If we don't get it, we don't get it. I can't do nothing if we're like, you can't, but I'm not going to let her know that. You know, there's been times I've been working with her and it's like, it's been bad. Like deadlines, bootlegging, all stuff it's been catastrophic. You know, and she relies on me to come in and make sure, forget the technical aspect, the creative aspect, all the things that I bring to the table. She looks at me to see like, yo, if demo's not tripping, I know we're good. And I'm tripping sometimes. I mean, listen, she's put me, out of all the artists I work with, she's put me in some situations that I was just like, have defined me as a human being. Because there's been things like the Super Bowl, for instance, I've never in my mind have done anything in television, even to that magnitude. We're talking 140 million people. Moving sets, moving parts, count 300-something volunteers. You got to worry about the truck, got to worry about production, got all these things going on. I'm sitting there going like, oh, man, like, you just do it. You know, you just do it. Because it's like, if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. Then you're going to go home and say, damn, I could have done that. That's the worst feeling in the world. See, we're going to go back to those people that tiptoeing through life. I want you to think about this for a second. You can put your pens down. I want you to really just marinate on this idea. Some of you can even close your eyes. I want you to really envision this. Imagine you go through your entire life and you're at the very end of it, wherever that may be, and your body has given up on you. I mean, your body is just deteriorated, but your mind is as sharp as a tack. Your mind is 100%, I mean, it is going, your body is just gone. You're pretty much in a crib or in a bed. I want you to imagine that for a second. And you're there in that moment. And I want you to think about you just sitting there in that bed and you start looking back at your life. You have the opportunity to look back at all the things that happened, all the wins, all the things that happened. At that point in your life, when you look back, even the losses are invigorating. When you look back and you say, oh man, like, oh my God, I remember when I blew and I was on the streets and things were crazy, but you went through it, you survived it. Like even at that point in life, the losses will be invigorating because you lived a life worth living and you didn't sit on the sidelines and let it pass by. You can open up your eyes now. That's how it is. When you go through life and you go and you give it all you got, because you only got one shot. It could all end tomorrow, folks. I could leave out of here, get hit by a bus, and that's a wrap. Or I could be here for another 30, 40, 50 years. We don't know. But I do know this. there's going to be a time where all of us are going to get our time, our reckoning. And we're going to have a moment to look back. And looking back and saying, man, I could have done this. I could have done that. What if I would have taken that job? What if I would have went to LA, signed up for that studio gig? What if I would have put out that album and changed those lives? What if I started singing? What if I would have went and got that job in New York? What if I would have mentored those young girls and changed their lives? What if? That's not a life worth living. The life worth living is a life where everything you do, you did it because you wanted to do it. And at the end, when it's all said and done, whether you win or lose, you live to tell about it. And at the end of that road, when it's all said and gone, you still come out a champion. I really, really appreciate y'all coming today. You know, it's my passion to be able to come back here because I see myself in a lot of you. And when I was here, the Hall of Fame didn't exist. You know, I looked at Leslie and Juan Peralta's and these other guys. I saw them on them little covers of the Full Sail magazine, and I had to sit there and go, man, I'm gonna be just like that dude. I'm gonna be just like them. I never had access to them. I didn't. And I look at what I was able to accomplish, and I'm very grateful for what I've been able to do. But it hurts me too, because even within the context of my lab group, man, I had some great people, some great, great people that were with me, guys that really had it. And really, I really wanted them to win. And nobody did anything, man. Nobody did anything. And over the years, I've heard all these stories about all these potential great grads, and then they disappeared in the mist. I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a restaurant, a store, walked into craziest places, run into an old grad that's in there like serving food or waiting on cars at valets, working at hotels, and you can see it in their eyes that they're just miserable. And you can see they look, they're like, oh man, oh yeah, hey, I heard you went to Full Sail. Oh man, I did too. Yeah, you know, didn't work out for me. I was sitting there going, well, what happened? He goes, well, you know, I sent my resume out, nobody called me back, so I figured it wasn't for me. And that kills me, because I know so many people like that. And all I ask of you is just take this moment. Just take those steps. It's going to be scary, but just do something. Don't do nothing. Don't let this opportunity pass by. Folks, it's nice up here. It's nice being in the Hall of Fame. Not saying you need to get to the Hall of Fame and have it nice, but shoot for it. That's why it's here. That's why we come back. That's why we're here. We're here to show y'all that it could be done. I am no different. Grant, he's going to be a Hall of Famer all in his own right. But there's plenty of Hall of Famers that when you see them like that's what they do. They're here for you. Get to them. Ask them. But most importantly, look at what they've done and know that it can be accomplished. And all you need to do is just go and do it. And I promise you, you'll look back and say, man, this is a hell of a ride. Because, man, it is nice. So I look forward to seeing all of y'all get inducted. I'll be like, yeah. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Demo. Everybody has a plan now. You're working on it. You're going to turn it in by tomorrow afternoon. No, I'm just kidding. But thank you so much for sharing these words. Oh, it was awesome. Everyone should leave here inspired. And thank you to our online students who joined us today. We appreciate you very much. So go out and have a good day. One more round of applause for Demo.
And folks, everybody behind the scenes, just clap it up for them.